Hey everybody, thanks a lot for tuning in today. Let me tell you this, I have been using a lot of highlighters lately. I've had this idea here and there to review a certain category of products that are best sellers from certain retailers. And I started looking around Ulta's website, and when I got to the highlighters, I thought, wow, I have only tried one of these 5 best-selling highlighters. So I bought them all, I've been trying them, comparing them against one another, and I think it's very interesting to talk about the best sellers because I think by default, usually on websites like Ulta and Sephora, if you just go to a certain category of makeup, you're automatically going to see what they want to display as the best sellers. So these products are getting like the most visibility on the website, but are they really like top notch, or who are they for? And what I've tried here, I've got 2 that I really like, I've got 1 that I'm kind of in the middle on, and I've got 2 that I didn't go for so much. And my descriptions on these and my explanation of the experience I had may lead you to any number of these highlighters if you have different preferences or just different expectations for a highlighter, you know? And I also want to say that I bought these probably 3 weeks ago was when I would have placed the order on the website. And when I was just looking at the best-selling highlighters on Ulta's website yesterday, these were all in the mix very much. So I got this Urban Decay Afterglow palette, and this is a palette of 4 different highlighters. And before I even got my hands in it, you know how it's always tempting as soon as you get something, ooh, what does this shade look like? What does this shade look like? With highlighters, I think swatches can be very deceiving, definitely more so than they are with eyeshadows, because with an eyeshadow, there's always the chance that you're going to pack that shade on to the level that you might see in a swatch. But with highlighters, I'm usually, you know, shearing that stuff out, wearing it way lighter. So as I was initially playing with these, I really wanted to just see how does it apply on the skin, and then we'll swatch them later and we'll see how that goes. But I really was not impressed with the way these went on the skin. I thought this NSFW shade here, like on my finger, yeah, it looks like kind of a pretty rose gold, but on the skin I could hardly make that show up. Peroxide up here is this pink color, and something about that tone, and I will have another pink highlighter that I'll be mentioning in this video, but this just kind of looks powdery. It looks like product sitting on the skin. You know how some powders can practically even appear to melt into your skin, even being a powder? They've got enough like pigmentation and real glowiness about them, they just kind of work into the skin, and that one seemed to be kind of sitting on top. This shade called Side Piece here, now this might be very flattering on a deeper skin tone. On my skin, I can't make like a true gold highlight work. If it's a real light gold, if it's verging on like a golden champagne color, yeah, that can be fine. This, again, it stands out on the skin for the wrong reasons on me, and so I wasn't a fan of that. In contrast, this color called Bliss, this can work for me. This I thought was bright enough, it was shiny enough, I thought it had a nice wearable finish on the skin, and I was impressed that none of these highlighters seemed to be packed with a bunch of glitter. Because did anybody remember, was it like 2 Christmases ago, Urban Decay had like a highlighting trio and it was just a big glitter bomb? I don't know that I saw a single positive review for that on YouTube. This is not that kind of thing. We've got a series of soft shimmers here, but if I'm only really going to be impressed by 1 out of 4, I don't think that's a good deal. Just my opinion. Also, I'm comparing this to other things that I'm going to be getting to here that I think just absolutely knock my socks off. Here's the other thing I didn't really go for, but maybe some of you would if you really like this tone. It's this Too Faced highlighter that's in like a jewelry box kind of look here, and it kind of looks like a diamond. Now you might be able to tell with the light bouncing off of that this has a very cool tone to it. It actually has this sort of bluish sheen on my skin. I like that this is actually somewhat soft. It's not a bunch of glitter. It honestly doesn't come off too metallic on my skin to work, but it's just a tone that I don't really find super flattering on me. The upside to this one might be the fact that if you do like that tone that gets very, very cool, not so much in a purpley sense, but actually downright just tipping on blue a little bit. If you're looking for something like that that doesn't have ridiculous sparkle and chunkiness and stuff like that, which I have seen in other highlighters that seem to go this direction. They think like, okay, if you want this shade, you want it to be just wacky and filled with all these flecks of everything. I mean, this is not that. It seems to actually be a decent formula just in a tone that's not super flattering on me, and then in addition to that, the packaging is very bulky. Now I want to tell you about the thing that I believe was the top seller. It was the first one listed on the website, and for me it's kind of in the middle in terms of these highlighters, and it's the Amrezy highlighter from Anastasia Beverly Hills. Look at that. I mean, it's a beautiful presentation here in the packaging, is it not? The way they've created that sort of ripple is, I think, absolutely perfect for showing off the sheen of a highlighter. The tone on this, like, I immediately think of like bright gold. It's not a brassy, really yellowish gold like that one shade I was pointing out in the Urban Decay quad. This is a really like light, bright champagne-y gold. And just as far as tone goes, I think that's awesome. I will say, compared to other Anastasia highlighters, like the ones that are sold in the 4-pan palettes, this does have a little bit drier feel to it and a more like straight up metallic look. Like to swatch this, it really looks like a metallic eyeshadow. It's that opaque. It's a very serious highlighter. Like, you want to highlight to the gods, this gets the job done for you for sure. I'm kind of in the middle on it because I do think I have to be careful with this. This metallic of a highlighter like doesn't always look the best, like right up in this area here on me, or maybe right up above my eyebrows where I got like little fine lines coming through. It can show off some of those issues, so you have to use it very lightly. And I'm talking real life here, okay? Because this can look phenomenal in a picture. It can like bounce off the skin and be so beautiful. Like, if you want to look highlighted, it can absolutely achieve it. But in the real life, face to face, looking up close at yourself in a mirror sense, I don't think it's the most flattering. Now here's another highlighter that was among the top 5 bestsellers. It's the Becca Shimmering Skin Perfector, and there wasn't any one particular shade pointed out in this, but if you're not familiar, there's a whole range of these. You've got Champagne Pop, you've got Opal, Moonstone, all different kinds. Something that I wanted to get individually that I didn't have on its own yet is a shade called Pearl. And I see comments from a lot of people when I'm on the topic of highlighters saying like, I am the fairest of the fair skin. Even something that looks champagne-y gold is not going to be light enough to have a profound highlighting effect on my skin. And so in trying these products, I thought I'm going to get Pearl and see how that goes. And this absolutely, I would think if anything works on fair skin, it would have to be this shade. Like, you see how potentially bright that can be, and the finish of these, oh, it's so smooth. It's got a little less of a metallic look than the Amrezy one. It's slightly softer than that. It kind of is more capable of being buffed into the skin, and that technique can really benefit a product like this. But this is like super intense. This tone and this formula can look very, very pronounced on the skin. If you still are wanting that level of brightness, but something that's going to be an even softer take on the skin, a little more friendly maybe to fine lines and texture on the skin, you might look into the liquid shimmering skin perfector option, because that is like undetectable, sneaky, but really effective glow, and it always manages to look a little softer than the powder versions of these highlighters. But I can't argue with the quality, and if you're someone who just struggles to get a highlighter to look right on your fair skin, I think Pearl would absolutely be the way to go. Now, my number one thing here that I tried in terms of best-selling highlights on Ulta's website is this Sugar Glow Kit from Anastasia. These glow kits are huge, by the way. I've owned one other one of these. I think I had the sun-dipped one, but this is definitely my favorite thing that I've tried in terms of Anastasia highlights, and it's my top one out of all this stuff. Now, you've got 4 big pans of product here. They are 0.26 ounces each, 7.4 grams. Compare that to one Becca highlight, which is just 7 grams and 0.25 ounces. So they've beat them out even a little size-wise, but you're getting 4, and this whole thing is going to be $40, whereas one Becca Shimmering Skin Perfector is going to cost you $38. So from a value perspective, this Anastasia palette has everything like completely beat, and I also love everything that's inside. But real quickly, I do want to mention the cost of the others. The Amrezy one is $28. This Too Faced one is $34. I feel like that's really overpriced. And the Urban Decay one, originally $34, currently marked down on sale on Ulta's website to $17, and I still wouldn't pay that for it. But back to this Anastasia sugar set. Everything in here is 100% wearable to me. This product is kind of a lesson to me in you can't judge a highlight necessarily by what you see in the pan, because like this color called Gumdrop, if you're looking up close at that has a lot of sparkle. I can see bits of shimmer. It comes off like really pinky, but instead of looking like a thick pink, it looks like this beautiful pinky sheen that I put right over where I have my blush right here on the apple of my cheek. I've got Gumdrop. I can't see a fleck of glitter. It just looks like it gave my blush the most beautiful sheen right there. And I am wearing the MAC Patrick Starrr, this shade right here underneath. That highlighter just gave the cheeks the most juicy look. Also, let's talk about Starburst. Starburst right here gives an absolute like dewy sheen to the skin. It looks peachy in the pan, but it's not a super far cry from the brightness of the Becca Pearl, you know? And so I've got that Starburst shade on the tops of my cheeks here, and I mean, I put it on lightly. So it has potential, it has a range, and something I love about all of these Anastasia highlights, I feel like unlike the Amrezy, these are softer. I feel like I'm capable of achieving a more natural look on my skin with these. And the brush that I like to use, it's the Moda Highlight and Glow brush. I got mine from Walmart, and see how it's just a really good size to pinpoint an area, but then you can kind of buff over it. Works really well. On this side of the palette, what we have is a more golden take on things. Butterscotch, worn sheer, worn lightly on the skin, I feel like achieves a very similar look to what the Amrezy does. There's a little more depth in this shade, but it can still highlight my skin tone for sure. And it's like by the time the Amrezy one and by the time that one gets sheared out, they look really, really similar. Only in some strange way that I can't fully describe to you, this ends up looking more natural on the skin. I think there's somehow a little more creaminess in these powders. Something about the texture of the product, I think, is what it is. And then Marshmallow looks really, really light from a distance, but unlike Pearl, this goes to a very goldeny place. So a soft gold, very soft gold, but it's not like how Pearl was just a straight up like white pearl. This definitely has some golden tone to it. And I do think Marshmallow and Starburst can be equally bright and kind of bouncing off the skin, but yet the textures are so good and so capable of being worn and to look kind of natural. And I'm sure I'm preaching to the choir on this because I don't think this is brand spanking new. I think this one is a bestseller for good reason. For $40, you're getting 4 fantastic highlighter products in big sizes. To me, this is my clear favorite. I do love the Becca Shimmering Skin Perfectors, but from a value perspective, unless you're like needing a really specific shade of this, I don't think it can compete with the Anastasia. You're getting like 4 in 1 there. Now this ABH highlight, the Amrezy collaboration, profound. Profound highlight. It is beautiful. It's hard to not make it look really metallic on your skin. I would skip the Urban Decay Afterglow, and unless you're really looking for that specific tone that the Too Faced is giving you, I'm not a huge fan of that one. So that's my little review roundup, guys, on the top 5 best-selling highlighters from Ulta. I'd love to hear what you think if you've tried any of these, and thank you so much for watching. Bye.